um, what do you call it? A YouTube live. This is in regards to just some shit that I encountered today. And of course, we're going to end up talking about it, but let me turn off my Bluetooth. I only got about an hour. This is not a actual show, more of like a pre-show, but we're going to run it like one. Good evening, Eric Von Eric. Yeah, I'm just in the car. Like I said, this is we're going to have a show today, but this is just some Trump over lunch talk because of some shit I want to run by you guys. If I can try to get my other device going here. I married the preacher, handsome conservative. You are wilder than a black Uno card. All right, let me see here. Oh my God, that's funny. Just want to make sure I get this in here. We go just because this is on my 5G, so I don't even know how reliable what we're doing here is. But I want to just ask you guys something real briefly. You guys let me know yes or no in the comments on this one because I'm reading this article of a guy who's not only been in America for 50 years, half a century, but also he served honorably in the military, and they're deporting this dude. Now, I guess the argument is you've been in the country that fucking long, you should have gotten your paperwork together, crossed your T's, dotted your I's, and became a legal citizen. But I want to ask you folks, if you served in the military and did an honorable stint, should deportation be off the table? That's the point I'm in. Yes or no in the comments. If you've done an honorable stint, good evening, Creed. I guess you got to step away. But if you've good afternoon, rather. If you've done an honorable stint, an honorable tour in the military, whatever, how many years that may be, anywhere from 2 years on up. If you did your time in the U.S. military, literally put your life on the line on behalf of this country because that's exactly what happens. Now, by the way, real quick, I'm looking at multiple cameras, so understand my eyes are going to go all over the fucking place. I hear people in the comments say this all the time, but because the cameras are closer to me in the car, I can literally see it. So bear with me. Understand I'm not fucking cross-eyed, but when you're looking, like I got TikTok over here and YouTube. Anyway, you've done a complete stint in the U.S. military. Do you believe deportation should be off the table? Let's say you done your 4, 6, 8, 12 years, whatever the hell it is, you performed honorably, you've been discharged. 4 years after you get discharged, you're caught in a DUI or you and your wife get into an argument and you get a DV, domestic violence beef pinned on you or something of that age. Something that's criminal. Something that is officially criminal by the books. The question is, should deportation, because listen, if you're in the country, you're not here as a citizen, you have to be on your P's and Q's. I know when I migrated to Australia, that if I committed a crime, they're going to kick me out of the country. I was under this type of environment myself. So I know what it's like. And I had friends, I'd hang around in the hip hop clubs. Not a lot of African Americans are in Australia, but I did meet a few. Very, very few African Americans can say they ever been to Australia. You just don't meet a lot of African Americans. Few people came out of the military, but I did meet a few. And I do know a couple African Americans that went to Australia, fucked up, and got deported. I know Kiwis, folks who are from New Zealand. They are brown in color. They kind of look like The Rock, that brownish. I know plenty of them that got, screwed up and got deported as well. But they didn't serve in the military. They didn't do a complete tour in the military. So what I'm saying is that if you do a tour in the military, even if you get out and you commit a crime, a felony, you should be treated just like an American that committed a felony. The point I'm making is I don't understand why you would expose a foreigner, because that's what they are if they're not a citizen. We can talk about this illegal and undocumented shit, whatever term you want to fill in, feel free to do that. But if you're going to expose a foreigner to confidential information about our government, which most people in the military have encountered something, maybe not something serious. You're not exactly, got high level access to the Pentagon. But if you're in the military, you probably have had access to some confidential information at some point. Not to mention the training, you're around equipment. Why would you send that person out of the country by force where they may be disgruntled, where they can share that information with somebody else? Once you're trained in the U.S. military and you served honorably, I'm saying deportation should be off the table. It should simply be off the table. If they commit a crime, treat them like an American that is committing a crime also. That's just my opinion. So I do want to talk to you guys to hear your opinion on that. President Trump also said today that out of all of the presidents we've ever had, he is the best we've ever had for religion. What does that mean? So we're going to talk to you guys. I want to hear from you folks. What does it mean when the president says he has been better for religion than any other president in U.S. history? Do you agree? Yes or no in the comments? Let me know. And if so, what did he do? What did he do that is, I guess, promoting religion, beneficial to religion, whatever the case may be, that's better than every other president? He said, here's the odd thing. He had a prayer dinner or some kind of course. Today, this happened today, I believe. And prayer breakfast. Prayer breakfast is what it's called. He said that at the prayer breakfast, but also he's talking about the 2020 election and how he got cheated, and he don't understand why anybody would ever vote for Democrats. I don't know what place that has at the prayer breakfast, but he absolutely said all of that shit. Is it possible to have 2020 election derangement syndrome? What say you? I don't know, but that came up. I do want to ask you folks that as well. Then last but not least, wow. In regards to Minnesota, that continues to make the news. The polls suggest people are simply unhappy with the performance, the enforcement, whatever term you want to put in there, of ICE in Minnesota. Even a lot of Republicans believe that what ICE is doing in Minnesota is either heavy-handed. They don't believe they're necessarily being honest about the death of Alex Preddy. And for good reason. I mean, Kristi Noem referred to the guy as a domestic terrorist, the way she stated that he approached law enforcement with a pistol in his hand. I mean, look, it works if there's not cameras, if there's not folks videoing it. But Alex Preddy's encounter, at least, his first encounter too, when he kicked out the tail light, but it's certainly his second encounter, from start to finish, was on video. So, obviously, Kristi Noem's statement, Stephen Miller calling the guy an assassin. I think Kristi Noem also indicated that the guy not only had a firearm, but he had 2 magazines, and he was hell-bent on injuring or taking the life of as many people as possible. Now, everybody saw what happened, and it doesn't fit. So, the point is, a lot of folks are unhappy with the performance of ICE. A lot of folks are unhappy with what's going on with ICE in Minnesota. So, President Trump came out, I think today or yesterday, and stated, out of all of the tens of thousands of people, we only had, 2 out of tens of thousands. So 2 people, Alex, Preddy and Renee Nicole Good. 2 people out of tens of thousands, and we get bad press. His point being, well, shit, only 2 people died. Why the hell y'all tripping so hard? This is what he said, folks. This is what he said. 2 out of 10,000, 2 out of tens of thousands. I wrote the quote down so I didn't misquote him. 2 out of tens of thousands, and you get bad press. Is there a certain number? So I guess I would bring up Lincoln Riley and ask, whatever happened to 1 is too many? You send ICE to this town, largest deployment of immigration officials in U.S. history. 2 people died. Well, out of tens of thousands of people, only 2 died. Why am I getting bad press? Wow. Saint Muerte Thank you. Same Muerte. Wow. Thank you for the hat and mustache. Let me go to the box. I want to talk to a few of you folks. I'm on lunch. Don't have a lot of time, so I'm about to limit the time I speak to you. But James Harper, thank you very much. Speaking of which, good evening, James, or good afternoon, rather.
What's going on, Tim?
Not much at all. Only 2 people lost their lives in Minnesota out of tens of thousands. Why the hell is Trump getting bad press?
Because first off, they he's trying to make it seem like, oh, these guys they came after us. We just set out to kill these guys. It just happened. But it's bad press. He hates bad press. No matter what it is, he hates bad press.
Well, in defense of Trump, everybody hates bad press, right? I mean, you know, I'm assuming Obama and Biden didn't like bad press either.
Yeah, but they never act like that though.
No. I mean, is it possible that maybe the liberals are overstating it? I mean, with Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, maybe the liberals are making a mountain out of a molehill?
No, that's definitely not the case, sir.
Well, I mean, the guys. Go ahead.
See, this is the thing. There's been plenty of deaths by ICE, but the problem with this bad press is these are American citizens that got killed in broad daylight.
Yeah, I think the predominant reason it's bad press is because they're being caught on camera. Because if you didn't see the loss of life of Renee Nicole Good to Alex Preddy, you would have had to go by what Christy Nome released. Look, this guy was armed. He approached law enforcement. You know, he was talking shit or whatever the case may be, making threats, and they had to put him down. That's what you would have had to go with. But with the video,
right,
it doesn't match what she's telling you.
And then the outright lies. Oh, he was determined to take as many lives as he can. Name one time a mass shooter was coming out with a handgun against armed federal agents with body armor.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, we can talk about the Virginia Tech shooter. He did have 2 handguns, but no, he didn't go up against the military. I mean, he didn't go up against the police. He was looking for soft, unarmed targets.
Yeah, they would go against civilians who aren't sitting there like ready for a fight.
So then I would ask you, why do you think Christy Nome, considering she knew everybody saw what happened, why do you think they would release a statement that is so opposite of what people actually seen?
Because they're stupid enough to believe that like people just gonna like outright believe what they say. Remember, MAGA is the only people that will like see video evidence and be like, no, that's not it. That's not what happened.
Well, a lot of people actually saw the video showing the death of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy, heard Christy Nome's statement, and I got a lot of MAGA that tell me flat out what Christy Nome said was actually true.
You still got MAGA that says what Christy Nome said about Alex Preddy was true. They're the only people that like whatever this administration and Trump says, that's gospel.
Well, I mean, how does one person get that? I'm not going to be talking long because I'm on lunch and I got to take a few other, but how does one person reach the pinnacle of success to the point where, based on what you're saying, no matter what they say, their followers are going to automatically believe it's true? Is that what you're telling me? If Trump said the sky is red, MAGA would believe it?
Yeah, but you got to also remember, like, this is the party of Rush Limbaugh. Like, that guy's been saying crazy stuff, like, for decades. And Trump is the manifestation of the shit that he's been talking about. So they believe, like, it's finally their time.
Wow. Last but not least, like I said, I got to cut it short, but now, are you a veteran? Did you serve?
Yes.
Okay. The question I'm asking is, if a person is served in the U.S. military, should deportation be off if they served honorably? Now, if you're discharged dishonorably or you did something wrong while you were in there, that's a different story. But if you do your complete tour and receive an honorable discharge, I'm suggesting that deportation should be off the table. Would you agree?
Actually, that was the case. Like, those who weren't American citizens that did enlist, they were supposed to be like fast tracked to getting like green cards and things like and citizenship. because they actually served the country. But if you sit there and deport somebody that served the country, that's just flat out wrong. Especially with the fact that a lot of these so-called patriots didn't even like have the guts to actually like go and volunteer.
I mean, I'm gonna be candid. I didn't serve, so yeah. If you served the country, you've done more for America in terms of putting your life on the line than I did. So I'm absolutely in favor of it. But apparently, the Trump administration disagrees. James, I do got to move it on, but thank you for coming through, man. Appreciate it.
No problem, Tom.
All right, thank you. All right, looking in the comments real quick. If the Democrat Party tells you a man could be a female, would you believe it? Creed, you're still here. Let me just say this. I'm not even going to mince words on this. Statements like the Democrat Party don't know what a woman is, it's hatred of the transgender community. I know a hell of a lot of Democrats that do not favor the trans community, also hate trans people themselves, and know damn sure what a woman is. So the idea that the Republicans keep saying Democrats don't know what a woman is, that's just hatred of the transgender community and trying to, I guess, splash it all over every Democrat. There's a whole lot of Democrats that don't agree with that. A whole lot of them, including yours truly. I don't believe you can just change like that. But look, I understand the goal is to exercise a certain level of hate, maybe without calling it hate. But yeah, there's a whole lot of Democrats that'll tell you they don't agree with that. I really like to know, what is this? Says Tree Coral says, I really like to know why so many European countries are kicking high up people out of government for involvement with Epstein, but yet in the USA there is none. Maybe the Europeans are willing to hold their nefarious characters to a higher account than Americans are. It's as simple as that. Look, I don't know what Epstein's claim to fame was other than basically peddling young pussy. I mean, what is Epstein known for? Because he was incredibly wealthy. What else did he do to acquire all of that wealth? Now, I'm going to be clear with you. This is locker room talk here. Locker room talk at lunchtime, but this is an adult audience, so I'm going to say this. Some of you folks may not favor it, but I'm going to say this. If you are a dude, or a woman for that matter, because I throw Jose Maxwell in this, but if you are a person that can guarantee men will get laid, you're going to make a fortune. Look, come to my house, in this case, my island, you get your bust your nuts, you'll enjoy yourself. People will give you a fortune for that. And they don't have to be underage people. But this seems to be a crowd that favored underage people. What Jazane and Epstein were doing was essentially being pimps. They were essentially pimps. They just are high enough at a level where we don't call them that. But if you're from the hood, you know what the fuck a pimp is. They were essentially pimps. You got folks that are working for you, enriching you, and they don't really have an option to say no. That's what a pimp does to his tricks. Epstein and Jazane were pimps. And pimps make a lot of money because they can guarantee Johns will get laid. Come see me. I got a few hoes for you. Guaranteed you're going to get laid if you go talk to him. Guaranteed you're going to get laid if you go hang around Epstein. Other than that, where the hell all the money come from? Literally like looking at a pimp and asking, how did you get this fancy car? Where the hell that fur coat come from? Because you're selling ass. Only difference is he's selling it underage. Looking at the comments, Handsome Conservative says, asking if you know what a woman is not hate. If you know what a woman is, you should be able to say it. Look, the question in itself, Handsome Conservative, I'll entertain that question not being hate. But when you look at the overall package of how the Republican Party, particularly MAGA, refers to the transgender community, that's not love. The transgender community sees it clear as day that is hate. You can deny it. I'm fine with that. But the transgender community knows they have no friend in MAGA. They know that. They absolutely know. I mean, President Trump made it clear that if you elect me, I'm going to ask Congress to make it so that there are only two genders. So essentially, he's going to use all his power by presidential power to make the transgender community go away. You won't even be able to transition in the eyes of government. Tell me that's love? Let me go back to the box. He was a teacher then, Wall Street, then Smex traffic. Yeah, so, well, maybe he made a bunch of money on Wall Street. I don't know, Black Hawk, but I don't know how this guy was able to afford a whole island and all that shit. Other than these folk, listen, if you got the goods on the likes of Clinton, and by the way, I sent somebody an invitation, my fault. But if you got the goods on these elite people, they'll pay a fortune for you to keep quiet. They would give Epstein whatever he wants. I mean, you think the Clintons, or whether it's Trump or Gates or some of these folks, Bill Gates, they'll give him a fortune to keep that shit secret forever. Or you might just find him in a cell dangling from a rope. One way or another, what you know ain't getting out. Anyway, let me go back to the box, and I wouldn't be surprised if you got a Democratic administration in there that promised to release everything, and all of a sudden Ghislaine Maxwell was hanging out with Epstein. Would not surprise me, because there are high players that don't want that shit to come out. Going back to the box, we'll make it happen with Takesha Bowie. Good evening, Takesha. He is in Israel right now. I don't know about that. He was a financial advisor for a lot of rich people. I heard he only had one major client, though. Specific, something like that. Takesha, good evening or good afternoon.
Hey Tim, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Trump said he's the. Now you're a religious woman. I've heard you quote scripture on here many times. Trump said he's the best president we've ever had for religion. What say you?
He's lying, but listen to him, because he's no example of what that Bible speaks about at all. I don't care what he pretend to support. That people that really are in Christ, they know the fakeness. He's not. He's not.
Wait a minute. Most MAGA, certainly most Republicans, are God-fearing Americans.
No, they're not.
You believe? Thank you, Ginger. You don't believe that most MAGA are God-fearing?
No.
What are you suggesting? No. They're all atheists?
They're just lying. God is love. He's not hate. Hate does not exist when God is present. You cannot do all this stuff towards other people and hate other people for what they are and who they are and still claim to know Christ. Because guess what Christ didn't do? He didn't mistreat the sinner, but he condemned the ones who swore that they were Christians.
Well, in defense, or better yet, in defense of my beloved MAGA that are likely watching, give me your explanation of why you're suggesting that MAGA is involved in hate. Where are you getting this from? How?
They hate the immigrants. They hate the transgender community. Some of them hate black and brown people. They don't care nothing about people taking food out the mouths of the hungry. They don't care to you. They don't care. They worship Donald Trump. And the commandment, thou shalt have no other God before me. When you make somebody an idol, you make them a god.
Wait. You're indicating that MAGA views Trump at the deity level?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Now, I will say I went to a couple Trump rallies when he was campaigning, and I did have I was in line, you're waiting 5 hours to get in or whatever, and I did have a Trump supporter look me in the eye and tell me Trump was appointed by God to make this country great. So, I mean, listen,
Tim, let me say this. You think that God needs Trump to make a world that he created himself great when he could just speak it himself if he wanted to be great? You think he need Donald Trump? The God who said, let there be, and everything was made, need Donald Trump, an imperfect, immoral being, to get something done he won't done. Cut the crap, Tim.
Well, I'm not saying God needs Trump. But even a lot of Christians often say, God sent this person to me to get a message across. Or Christians say that all the time. Why is it different with Trump?
Let me say this. When they say God appointed Trump, I say no. Sometimes you can keep begging and asking God for something, and he'll step out the way and allow you to have it, to show you that ain't what you wanted for real.
So maybe he pushed Biden out the way to show us that we don't really want Biden or Kamala Harris.
Tim, that makes absolute. You know what?
I'm just going by what you said. Wait, hold up. Maybe Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was on the cusp of becoming the 47th president, and maybe God pushed her out the way to show us that ain't what you want. Is that what you telling me?
Hold on 1 second, Tim. Hold on. No, y'all kept begging for Donald Trump because y'all said he was the only one that could save this country. So when y'all put all y'all faith in him, he stepped out of the way and gave y'all who y'all put y'all faith in. Every time Donald Trump said, I, me, and mine, those are the same words the devil used when God kicked him out of heaven. He's too prideful and he too lifted up. And the Bible said that God hates a prideful person.
I got 2 comments for you. Scott in the comments, first of all, says, God-fearing women sure love to judge. And Trouble responds by saying, sounds like she doesn't know God herself. What say you?
Let me ask them a question. When you go to the ATM, if you see 4 black young guys standing out there, are you afraid of those black guys that they going to do something to you?
If I was Charlie Kirk, I might be.
That's what judging is. If I bring something straight out that scripture, that's not judging. Y'all need to understand what judging is and what judging is not. That's the problem. Y'all lack understanding. That's why you come to me with them comments. That makes absolutely no sense.
Well, I figured it was worth reading. Handsome Conservative says, and that is how you can tell when somebody is pretending to be a Christian. You're not getting through to some of these MAGA.
Tim, let me explain something to you. I don't care. Jesus went through performing miracles and everything. Guess what they still did? Said, give us Barabbas and crucify him. So you think I care if people take what I say and run with it, Tim? The Bible said if they don't accept it, you kick the dust and you keep walking. I don't care.
But here's what I don't get, and I see in Handsome Conservative says we don't hate the transgender community. We just know God do not make mistakes. I got a long speech on that. But what about that? Now,
hold on. Let me answer that, Tim. Every man that comes here, according to the word of God, comes as a sinner. You may not come as gay. You may not come as a robber. You may not come as a thief. But you come here a sinner. And that's why you have to be born again. The Bible said, let the wheat and the tare grow together, and I'll do the separating. You know why he said that, Tim?
I'm learning.
Because the ones you think going to heaven ain't going. And the ones you think, listen, that's why he said you will be pulling up the tare. Because you don't know who gonna make it in. People claim to be Christian. They got no Christ-like in them at all. Let me say this about the transgender community. Y'all always want to say the Democrats support this. The Democrat don't know what a woman is. If you think that every transgender person is a Democrat, then you're living in Delulu land. Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
MAGA and a transgender. Stop thinking your party is so perfect that everybody in it know God and do right. It's not.
But I'm going to say to Keisha that MAGA has a legitimate reason to think all transgender are Democrats. I mean, when you look at how MAGA addresses the transgender community, you do have to wonder, why would you be transgender and lean right? I mean, I don't understand Caitlyn Jenner myself.
Tim, you ever heard of down low?
Yes, I have. But that's not trans.
Hold on. Down low men pretend to hate the gays and be going through their back door at night when they think nobody ain't looking.
Yeah. Are you telling me MAGA is doing? You telling me there's some down low MAGA?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't heard about too much of that.
Around here, crashing, grinder, and everything. Stop it, Tim.
I have heard about that.
Really stop.
I have heard about that.
There is something. There is a gay in every party. There's a transgender in every party. There's a murderer in every party. There's a thief in every party. Every party has something in it. No party is perfect. And once they realize that their party is not perfect, maybe they can start looking at them spots on themselves before they judge the spots on other people.
And I will say, I got a lot of female. You brought out a lot of female MAGA. I'm happy to hear females, including you, Takesha. Who's your farmer girl says, then why are you judging Trump? You're talking all this religion. She wants to know, why are you being judgmental of Trump?
I'm going to say it again. Once you learn what judging is and what judging is not, you won't be asking me that question. When I can visibly see things that he does that go against the word of God that's in that Bible, that's not judging.
I'll leave it at that, Takesha. I do got to cut it short just simply because I'm on lunch. I would love to talk to you more.
Have a great day, T.
That sounds hard. I felt that. Was that a bar?
No. Oh, let me say this right quick. When you're talking about those kids that were done like they were done by Epstein, stop saying young P-U-S-S-Y. Those were children.
It's disrespect. I'll take that. I'll accept it. You are correct.
Yeah, those are children. Be careful how you speak about that, because every time I think about what was done to those children, I think about my grandbaby and how hard I pray over her that nobody does that to her. So choose your wording a little bit.
I have no argument. You are 100% right. I will correct that. Thank you, Takesha.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And she is right about that. Tap the screen, folks. I haven't asked that. Get your boy on up for a few lunchtime likes. Get the program up to about 20,000. I need that if you can make it happen. Certainly, if you're on YouTube, feel free to smash that like. But this is I don't normally do lunch break shows. I used to do these a couple years ago for you folks that enjoy dialogue from all sides of the aisle. That's what we normally do on the lives. We're here most weekdays, but closer in the evening, more in the evening. So if your favorite is, follow the program. If you're watching on TikTok, if you're watching on YouTube, give your boy a sub. Tim, people think you're MAGA. Are they right? No, I'm not MAGA. But I didn't see everything about Trump as awful. I was open-minded about President Trump. I don't think his first term was terrible up to the pandemic. I think he handled the pandemic horribly. Now, Trump's second term, yeah, for me personally, I see it as a lot less favorable than his first term. For the simple fact the economy is nowhere near as good as it was his first term. Some would argue that his first term, he inherited an economy from Obama, which is why it was much better. I'll leave that up to you. But his second term, not only is the economy not as strong, but the loyalist stuff, his discussion on the Second Amendment about you can't bring a gun to a protest when we saw Kyle Rittenhouse, January 6th, the Michigan mass. I mean, he's one further right. I'm not going to mince words. Trump 1.0, he leaned right. He's a conservative. He ran as a Republican president. He was where he should be on the scale. Trump 2.0 is much further right. In fact, folks who have been watching me for a while on the MAGA side of the aisle feel that I went much further left. And I make this point clear. It's not that I've went further left. It's that you guys have moved further to the right, so I seem further away. I'm where I was. But Trump 1.0 was not doing what he's doing on immigration. He wasn't talking about nationalizing elections and all this crazy shit. I mean, he's went much further than he was on the first term. He's way over to the right. You want to say the left went too far left under Biden? I'm not going to argue with that. But Trump is so far right now talking about nationalizing elections and things like that, that you talk about the left with transgender, that would be like literally if Biden transitioned. That's a nationalizing an actual election and putting the Republicans in control? Where the hell is that coming from? And of course, MAGA was like, yeah, you should nationalize it. Can you imagine if Biden or Obama said we should nationalize the election and put Democrats in control? Yikes. Anyway, looking in the comments, and by the way, real quick, before I go to the next caller, someone asked, someone said that God does not make mistakes. I'm not very religious, but I'm going to tell you that makes no sense to me. When it comes to sexuality, you can't transition because God makes a man, God makes a woman. He does not make mistakes. God makes people with two heads. God makes people that come out connected together, breech births. God makes people that are designed so poorly that the mom dies trying to give birth to them. I don't understand how somebody can be born with cancer, born with a heart outside of their body or no skeleton, no skull, but when it comes to sexuality, you don't make mistakes. That doesn't make sense. That absolutely, every facet of your life, we've seen human beings born 10 toes on one foot. No hand, I mean, all types of shit, mismatched eyes, all of that. But when it comes to sexuality, men are going to like women and women, it's going to be perfect every time. Nothing else about how God creates humans, in my eyes, is predictable. So why would it be predictable when it comes to sexuality? That just doesn't make any sense to me. But listen, I'm not super religious, so maybe you guys will tell me to politely fuck off. Anyway, look at in the comments. They just don't like people that are not that are different, says Gangsta Grandma. Tim, I need to know your definition of a woman. Chromosomes. I'm going to go with chromosomes. I don't think men are born with uterus. I mean, I'm going to go with the biology, the science. I'll go with the chromosomes. One's X and Y, one is, it is what it is. I'm going to go with the chromosomes. I'll leave it at that. If someone said that your wife had to die during childbirth, but her death allowed for the cure of cancer or a disease, then that's not a mistake. Everybody got their own opinion on what a mistake is. You're going to tell me if a child comes out with his heart outside of his body, or he's going to literally only live 10 days, that was done intentional? But if a dude comes out and he's attracted to other dudes, there's no way that could have been intentional. That had to be a mistake. People got their own opinion. Let me go back to the boxer real quick. Like I said, I'm taking callers a little bit shorter because I'm on lunch break here. Continuing on, we will make it happen with Stick the Ruler. Good evening, Stick. We must protect the integrity of elections from Republicans. Yes, hey, Pizzo, you Stick. Good evening or good afternoon.
Hey, what's going on, Tim? How you doing?
I'm just figuring I'd come and holler at some of the folks for lunch. Trump said he's the best president we've ever had in regards to a religion. Do you see any legitimacy to that?
No, he's not a religious person. He's never asked for forgiveness.
That's a good point. He did say I've never asked for forgiveness in my life, and he also said I'm not a Christian. I'm not one of you, is what he told the Christians.
He said I'm not a Christian. He got up on stage, and then a couple of days later he told him he's not a Christian. He need him to vote for him, but he's not a Christian. So we know now, and we've been knowing that Mike Pence was his Christian base. So, I mean, I don't know who does the awards or who tells him that he's the man, but for some reason he's got to twist it all up.
But I want to ask you this from a MAGA standpoint. MAGA's very Christian-like, God-fearing Christians. How is it that you mentioned? I hear you laughing. You mentioned that Mike Pence represented President Trump's Christian base, yet Trump got rid of Mike Pence, and the Christians stayed with him versus Mike Pence, who had obviously was far more connected to Christianity. How did that work?
It only worked because they came together to get a win. He knew Mike Pence was going to bring in the good old faithful, I believe in Jesus, God bless America and no one else. He was going to bring in those people.
I mean, I get that, but what I'm saying is Mike Pence brought a bunch of Christians to you. You started criticizing and hating on Mike Pence, and you were able to pull the Christians from him because they don't like Mike Pence now at all, and they went to Trump, who doesn't have a history of Christianity at all. How did that happen?
Because again, it's a cult, Tim. It's not a religion. It's a cult. They are just blindly following him. I got a thing on there where it's got a sheep herder, and he's running around the fire, right?
Okay.
And soon enough, the back end of the sheep see the front end of the sheep, and they just he jumps out to the side, and they keep running around the fire. That's MAGA.
Wait a minute. There's a lot of educated, wealthy, prominent members of MAGA. You're making them sound like they're not all cult members, are they?
No, they are all cult members in one or two ways. And what I mean by that is if you go and you look at the so-called elite MAGA, the congressmen and, you know, people in the House and some of the governors, like the things that they want their constituents to do versus what they will do is totally different.
Elaborate. What do you mean?
I mean, like back when AB was a big thing, and we haven't heard much about AB lately, but when AB was a big thing, we had people like Herschel Walker and other folks that had done habits, but yet they were against it. So again, they'll get it done, they'll pay for it to have it done, but then when it's time for somebody that may not be as well off, they tell them, oh, it's the child, and what about the child? Then the child is born, and then they don't even do anything for the child. So,
but what about evolution? What about evolution? Maybe when I was in my 20s and 30s, I thought that having a child was negotiable and I was pro-choice. But now that I found Jesus, I found God, and I'm an older man, I do realize that's a sin and I'm no longer for it. Maybe Herschel Walker and some of MAGA evolved.
No. That's not evolution. Evolution would be in the sense of progression. Evolution is not you just, you know, going back to the Bible or 1785 to bring out a law. That's conservatism. And in conservatism, you say you love the Lord and you worship the Lord and all of this good stuff, and you're a good Christian, but you're not doing nothing for the people who actually need the help. You're making sure that Donald Trump enriches himself $200 million, $230 million, I believe, but then you won't feed people that can't work. That you'll take their SNAP benefits, you'll increase their medical insurance and premiums. Like, what are we doing?
Well, it sounds like based on what you're saying, we're favoring the wealth of Trump over the everyday average person. I don't know why that would be, because Trump was already, you know, substantially wealthy before becoming a politician anyway. So I don't know why we would favor his wealth accomplishments over the average person. But that's what it sounds like you're saying, right?
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're using the Christian base to get understanding / something in common, right? You got all these people that think that they're Christians, but they have the same type of lookout on people that don't look like them. So going forward, have you ever seen the movie Cleopatra?
A long time ago, yeah, I've seen it a long time ago though.
Okay, well, there's a scene where they're trying to figure out what they're gonna do, you know, with Mark Anthony, and your boy's trying to pump up, you know, Rome. They trying to get Rome to, you know, go ahead and go in Venezuela, if that makes sense. So he comes out of the Senate and he goes, "Where's Egypt?" And they go, "It's over there." He's like, "No, that's not Egypt. Egypt is there." And it was a dude from Egypt that was representing them that was kind of trying to quell the argument between Egypt and Rome, and tell them, "No, Mark Anthony still, you know, he's still loyal to y'all. You don't have to do that." Well, guess what? Dude looked at him and said, "No, that's Egypt." Took a spear and chucked it at him. You know, it landed too.
Well, but that could be Iran soon. Stick, I do got to move it on though. But with Trump, you never know what country is going to get have a spear chucked at them like Egypt. But Trump is targeting a lot of countries.
Well, for him to get the power that he needs, he has to chuck the spear at the Democrats. Notice the Democrats are to blame for everything. It's always a leftist. It's always what do they call them?
Scapegoats.
I don't even know it.
When they call them Democrats, demon rats, all of that, libtards, you name it. But the Democrats, you're right, they are always a scapegoat.
Yeah. So he's got the spear pointed at us, and he wants us to be like, no, that's not true. In actuality, we need to do the same thing and show them that every MAGA accusation is a MAGA confession. So that's what we need to be at. We need to not stop showing and proving, because MAGA don't never show and prove any damn thing. We need to stop showing and proving and just take that shit.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that, because we don't have the speakers that are as entertaining and can draw as many people as Trump. And the Democrats don't have that. I got to move on, no stick. Thanks for coming through.
All right, I'll end it with this. We got the goddamn Constitution, Tim. We don't need nobody that can speak for us like the Constitution. Constitution says it all.
All right. And I will say this in regards to the Constitution saying it all. The Constitution is just a document. If it is not secured by any government entity, its days could be numbered. And I'm just going to tell you, I mean, when Trump said he wants to nationalize the election and put Republicans in charge, did you hear Congress really step up? Did you hear Speaker of the House Mike Johnson say anything about that? You know, he sure as hell would have said something if Obama or Biden made that statement, or Kamala Harris. Remember when Beto O'Rourke, running for governor down in Texas, said, "You're damn right, I'm going to take your AR-15s"? You heard how the right spoke up? He wasn't even a politician yet. He was just running for office. And folks on the right came out of the woodwork critics. The man said he wants to nationalize the election and put Republicans in charge. So not so much as a peep. Not so much as a peep. So I do agree with my last caller in suggesting the Constitution should guide the way. It's just a document, folks. If the powers that be does not defend the integrity of that document, it's just a document. You can have $100 bill in your hand. If you tear it up into a bunch of pieces and throw it, it's of no value. Essentially, it needs to be defended. You don't hear that. I think somebody sent me a super chat with the message redacted. Anyway, Jesus went to where the sinners were. He didn't live in a gilded ballroom. Well, Trump likes a lavish lifestyle. He's always idolized gold and things like that. The man has always lived that way. Do you agree with Billie Eilish that she should give up do I agree with Billie Eilish, the singer, I guess, that she should give up a $14 million mansion? Who should give that? She herself? I don't get it. I mean, Billie Eilish is just a singer, by the way. She her opinion is just like mine. She just has a bigger following. I don't know beyond that. But yeah, just like with Greta, what is her, Thornburg? You guys attack folks but folks in the right make shit like that too. I don't know. I mean, I know they spoke recently at an award ceremony, and Billie Eilish said I think she said there is nobody is illegal on stolen land. I think that's a quote from Billie Eilish the other day. What is the guy with the tattoos on his face? The guy who was really big and lost weight. Because he also made a really controversial statement. What is that guy? Somebody let me know in the comments. The guy he's done time in prison. He sings country music, tattoos all over his face. He lost a lot of Jelly Roll. Yes, Jelly Roll got up there and said, "I'm just a redneck from Antioch, Tennessee," or something like that. Said, "I've only had a phone for a short period of time and it has no social media on it. I don't have any idea what's going on." Jelly Roll disappointed a lot of people with that. Because, listen, a lot of folks feel like what's going on right now demands that folks with a platform speak out on. The idea that Jelly Roll has no clue what's going on. Listen, just come out and say, "I'm trying to protect my fucking brand, and I don't want to say some shit that's going to get me canceled." The idea that you don't know what's going on, you can't turn on the television, open up a newspaper, or even log into the internet, Google, Yahoo, Bing, any site, they're going to have people protesting. All of this shit's everywhere. Jelly Roll is touring American cities. Everywhere you go, there's protesters. Trump is even talking about having ice at the Super Bowl. How the hell could you not know what's going on as a guy that is on that type of a stage? So yeah, Jelly Roll lied and disappointed a whole lot of people, I guess. But as he often once sang, "I am not okay." Looking in the comments, Handsome Conservative says, "Watch the video I sent you about what the Democrats did when they got elected in Virginia. Then we can talk about how great they are." I don't think the Democrat Party is great. I don't think they're great at all. But look, I'm going to say it like this. There is absolutely not a damn thing you can show me about Democrats fucking up that's going to excuse being silent on the president talking about nationalizing the election. I don't care how much the Democrats fucked up. There is no excuse for having a president state he wants to nationalize the election, put Republicans in control, and MAGA go silent. Nothing you can show me. And you may have legitimate fuck-ups of the Democrat Party. I'm not saying the Democrat Party is perfect whatsoever. None of that legitimizes maintaining silence when the Trump administration is clearly talking about doing something that would have pissed off George Washington. I mean, it is that fucked up to the founding fathers to say you want to nationalize the election and put Republicans in control. By the way, what happened in Fulton County, Georgia is another one. I'm going to not only say that Democrats stole the 2020 election, but I'm going to do an investigation myself since I can't get the courts and nobody else to give me the results I want. Is there anyone that expects the investigations Trump is doing into the 2020 election to come back and say that his claims are unfounded? No matter what they do, at the end of the day, they're going to say there was some truth to what he said. I don't care what he said. He could say Jewish space lasers, as you may have heard. His FBI is going to come back and say, yeah, we did detect a few transmissions from lasers in space. Is there anyone that trusts Trump's FBI doing an investigation on the 2020 election to come back with an unbiased report? I don't know what to say. Anyway, let me go back to the box. Do you agree with how the ICE agents are being treated, beat up, spit on, and harassed? I don't agree with harassing or committing crimes against law enforcement. No. But I want to say also, I don't agree with law enforcement committing crimes against the people either. Fact is, you often hear the argument that ICE has been sent into a handful of countries around America. Why the hell is there only problems in Minneapolis or in Minnesota? Did you not just hear Trump the other day when a journalist asked him, what have you learned now that you're drawing down agents in Minnesota? His response was that a heavy-handed approach might not be a good idea. That's essentially an admission that the cops in that city, the ICE agents in that city, were being far more harsh to the population. That's what happened. You sent cops in to be harsh to people. Now you hear Tom Homan, the borders are saying that we're no longer going to confront protesters. We're going to walk away. Why the fuck wasn't that the job to begin with? Why the hell are you fucking with protesters? If you can walk away, walk away. If somebody's cussing you out, holding up signs saying fuck ICE, walk away. They're admitting that deployment never featured de-escalation as a method of operation. It was escalation. So when folks ask, well, why was there so many problems in Minnesota? Well, the cops came there with the platform of escalation. They escalated every conflict. When you see the last moments of Alex Preddy's life, whether you think it was justified or not, you don't look at those cops and say, well, they were trying to de-escalate the situation and he kept pushing. No, they were all escalating. They pushed the lady down. Then they began using pepper spray and bear spray. Then they ended up taking Alex Preddy down for getting involved. And then they began hitting him over the head with the can of bear spray. Every step was escalation. Ultimately taking his life. Not once did they try to de-escalate that situation. Whether you think it's justified or not, had law enforcement de-escalated that situation, he'd be incarcerated maybe, but he would be alive. So, yeah, Trump is stating, that's what I learned, is maybe, being heavy-handed was a bad idea. It's always going to be a bad idea. And I do want to say something real quick, because I made a video on this while I'm having this, coming to the conclusion of this lunchtime live. I've seen a lot of folks on the right. There is no Minneapolis police officers out here protecting ICE. Up to and including Bill O'Reilly saying that he wants Tim Walz and Fry investigated for insurrection for not cooperating with ICE. Think about it. Most cops grew up in the city they patrol and work in. And they certainly live in that city or in close proximity. A lot of police forces require you live in the city that you patrol and work in. ICE is only going to be in Minneapolis a few weeks, a few months. They're leaving. Those police officers, they have to be there indefinitely until their jobs are done. Whether we're talking about the citizens of Minneapolis, the mayor with Mayor Fryer, or even the governor too, the whole damn state view ICE as the enemy. What are those cops supposed to do when ICE leaves them behind? And now all of the citizens know that they helped ICE. They helped work for the enemy. Why would you have your police force work with ICE? They just regained integrity of their police force after the death of George Floyd a few years back. Their force is just now getting respect again because they've had a lot of harsh shit in their own police force. Now you start working with ICE. By the way, imagine when Alex Pretty's losing his life. You want Minneapolis police standing around protecting ICE in that melee? They pull up in marked squad cars, got their name plates on their chests. No mask, because the Minneapolis police officers don't wear masks. So you're fucking this dude up, Alex Pretty, in total anonymity. You're anonymous. And you don't live in this area. I'm a cop that works in this area. Everybody can see my face, my nameplate. I'm supposed to protect you? And you gonna be leaving and going back to Texas in a month or two? And I'm trying to do another 20 years here? What kind of shit is that? So the idea that Minneapolis police should be protecting ICE is fucking ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Just would destroy the integrity of the Minneapolis police force with its citizens, probably for years behind that. For years behind it. You work with ICE as a Minneapolis officer, you ain't gonna have, that department would have no respect with its citizens for a long time. You think Trump is gonna start sending help for them folks once they lose the integrity? No, when ICE is gone, he's gonna leave Minneapolis behind. So I'm certainly agreeing with Walsh and Fry and not putting their cops on them. That would have been dumb. Looking in the comment, if police were doing their job, Pretty wouldn't have been shot. ICE is the police, and they shot him. I'll tell you this also. Usually when the federal government comes into a city, let's say you got a big-time drug dealer, ATF, DEA is in town. They pick up the phone, call the chief of police, call the sheriff or whatever. We're going to be doing, a raid on this such and such block. We might have a few streets blocked off. In fact, could you send us some officers, to back up, maybe, hold up traffic or whatever to this neighborhood? ICE didn't do any of that. They came in calling the governor Tampon Tim, saying all kinds of bad shit about the city, and they didn't make any phone calls and advise anybody that they were coming in. Why the hell would the police step up and help them? They came in with a mindset of fuck this whole city. Fuck the governor, fuck the mayor, fuck everybody. And you expect ICE to step up and help them? I mean, you expect the cops to step up and help ICE? That's crazy. That is crazy. But no, you're not going to get the police to work with ICE when ICE is treating the citizens and stuff like that. I just don't imagine that ever happened. Probably happened in Memphis and Louisiana, stuff like that, because he didn't send ICE to those cities to act that way. We sent law enforcement to New Orleans. We sent law enforcement to Memphis. We sent goons to Minneapolis. And that's what happened. Real quick, looking in the comments here, I don't get it. They are hired government employees. Yeah, but you got, in the middle of what's going on there, you got J.D. Vance online saying, don't forget you got immunity while you're here. What kind of shit is that? Don't forget you got immunity. I mean, you're letting them know whatever the fuck you do is good to go. And then you got Christy Noem making those statements after the deaths of both Renee Nicole Good and Alex Pretty, that even many on the right are like, that don't make sense what you're saying happened. So, look, you want the police force to protect that? Stopping folks because they got accents and shit? No, they're not going to protect that. They were wrong. Andy, good evening. Bro has lost his mind. Maybe a little too much. Okay. You wouldn't protect that shit either. Andy, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hey, lunchtime.
Problem is that they're hassling the cops. There is a video of ICE hassling a Minnesota police officer, black man, and he says, I'm a citizen, shows his credentials, and they tell him those could be faked, take him into custody anyway, and he won a $10 million lawsuit.
Wow. There is also a video of them testifying that ICE did that to a off-duty policewoman as well. They were brought to break her car and everything, and she showed them the
10
badge.
of them. Yeah. There's 10 different cops they've done this to. The police chief was on TV saying, how can we trust you to police the citizens when we can't trust you to even know what our officers look like?
But let me ask you this. Why do you think it is that, and I'm talking about my beloved MAGA, why do you think it is that MAGA can clearly see citizens breaking the law towards ICE, but they don't see any law breaking from ICE toward the citizens?
Because they want what they want, and they don't give a damn about anybody else. Realistically, that's what it breaks down to.
Yeah, because there's a lot of videos of ICE violating people's civil rights. I mean, those videos are readily available. Just like there are videos of people spitting on cops and throwing shit at cops. There are plenty of videos of cops mistreating people. I don't know why they don't see it.
Police. I don't know how many times I have to say this. Pissing off the police is not a crime.
No, but shooting fireworks at them and there are people violating the law.
A little different, but that is not the average of what's going on the street.
I mean,
like Alex Peretti blew a whistle and it ended his life. Let's just be honest.
But you do admit Alex Peretti committed some.
ICE should not be. Well, first of all, ICE does not have jurisdiction over U.S. citizens unless they are violating a investigation. That's why we keep hearing them say they're violating investigations when we clearly don't see an immigrant anywhere to be found. Yeah, but American citizens are who they're hassling. So they're just saying that so they have jurisdiction to hassle these people. But they don't, because realistically they have no jurisdiction over U.S. citizens unless they are impeding an investigation.
Wait. You do admit, though, Alex Peretti did commit some actual crimes.
Alex was clearly not impeding one of their.
That ain't what I'm asking you, though. You do admit that there was, at some point, we can talk about 11 days later or what, you do admit he committed some crimes, right?
Wait, you can't commit a crime and then 7 days later be unalive.
I'm 100% agreeing with you.
No. You know that's not how that works.
That's not what I'm saying, though.
They should have arrested him that day for kicking out the taillight.
I'm not arguing with that. That's not answering the question. That's not answering the question. You're not answering the question.
When is that a capital offense?
I'm not. You're turning it into something I'm not. I'm just simply asking. Did Alex Peretti commit any crimes?
I'm not saying.
No, I'm asking you. Did Alex Peretti? No. Did he commit?
He should go to jail.
You're not even saying any crimes. Did he commit any crimes ever or not?
Yes, but they didn't arrest him for that crime. They cannot then turn around a week later and then unalive somebody for that shit. If they did, there would be no criminals. There'd be no people left in America, and the police would use that to unalive every black man in America, and you know that's true.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with that point. I'm just saying
any altercation
let me get in a little bit, Andy.
Just start unaliving them.
Okay, the point I'm making, I'm not disagreeing with that. The point I'm making, though, is there are some folks that are defending Alex Peretti to the point where they're trying to make it sound like he never committed any crimes at all. And I'm saying that removes credibility.
I don't care about them. I care about our law enforcement, the law itself, and our government. Because we the people arguably is upset because the government is not doing their job. Matter of fact, the government's out here actively lying against we the people and committing crimes against we the people. If you can't expect the government to do their job and stay within their rights of the law, how can you expect we the people to obey the law if you can't get them to obey the law?
But when you say the government,
stop.
You're going on. You're basically just talking. You're not allowing me to respond to you. No, you're good, but you're not letting me respond to you. You're just talking.
No, you didn't let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
Because you can't expect the American people to obey the law when law enforcement can't obey the law. Okay. If they don't know the law and can't obey it, how do you expect we the people to obey it? Okay. If they don't have any training, can't do their job, and don't know their job, don't know the law that they're supposed to do, then you can't expect we people to obey the law, period.
Okay. Now, when you say the government isn't doing their job, how do you respond to folks who say that if the government had really done their job under the Biden administration, you would have all these immigrants to begin with, and none of this would be going on?
Well, that's not true because they're not going after the people that came into the Biden administration because we know that Joe Biden deported more people than Obama. We know that Joe Biden deported more people than than Trump. He did. So if you go look at Biden's record and see how many people he deported, that's just a lie that you're repeating for them.
Biden deported more people than Trump and Obama?
Not collectively, but independently, yes.
It sure didn't look like that. That's the first I've heard of that.
Well, it's because y'all don't read. Y'all just repeat what you hear. Here's the reality. You know, they used to remove within 2 weeks that Donald Trump changed to 2 years. See, Donald Trump changed the law so that imminent, what was it called? My brain's not working at the moment. Tired. The way Obama kicked him out, the rocket docket. What was that called?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's how they remove them. They can be in the country for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And they have to turn. He used that to expel most of the people coming in across the border.
Well, I'll say this. Maybe when
the number was like 4 million and change. So I don't understand. See, this is my problem. Y'all repeat lies about Joe Biden like insanely. Joe Biden was not soft on immigration. Joe Biden had the damn border locked down for 18 months under Title 42. Title 42 expired. He had to let him in. Then he turned around and deported 4 million. So, like, y'all say Joe Biden was not hard on immigration, but yet he kept Title 42 in place and kept the government locked down for 18 months. Then we turned around and deported 4 million, and then he had Congress try to pass laws and legislation to get more help at the border so we could keep it that way.
Well,
I think Republicans wouldn't vote for the border package bill because they didn't care about that. They just want to get Trump elected so they could be racist and come into the interior of the country and do what they're doing now.
I think there's a couple issues.
They're doing now. They're not people that just came here. They're not.
Okay, I think there's a couple issues. One, Biden, because I see Jerry Garcia in the comments says a simple Google search just said you're wrong about Biden. I don't know, but I will say this: I think the issue might also be if Biden let a lot more people in the country than say Obama or Trump, then he has room to deport more people. But there still could be more people in the country under Biden.
Well, no, they say he didn't deport any. Like, let's be honest. Let's go by their logic. They said he didn't deport any. You can't use your logic now and not use what they actually say. You say what MAGA says. What MAGA says is he didn't do shit. That's not true.
No, everybody knows there were people that between 2020 and 2024, the idea that nobody got deported under the Biden administration is crazy. Every president deports somebody. Yeah, that would be crazy.
And the funny thing is when we look at pockets of immigrants, we don't see them voting for Democrats. We see them voting for Republicans. So when we hear Democrats and Republicans say, well, they just want to let in immigrants so that they'll vote Democrat, well, that seems crazy to me because up until recently, up until these ICE raids started happening, I'm pretty sure Miami was red as hell.
That ain't going to happen no more. That ain't going to happen again.
They have caused they have now turned their own fear into a reality. Now immigrants are definitely going to vote Democrat because of what they've done. So congratulations, Republicans. You're making your own fears come true.
I don't disagree with that last part. I got to move it on, Andy. But yeah, I don't foresee pockets of immigrants voting Republican for a very long time, considering what Trump has done, because they believe that he turned his back on them. Andy, thanks for coming through.
They even lost that in Texas. Donald Trump is telling them we're going to win the midterms and we need to. The reason Donald Trump wants to nationalize elections is because they haven't won but 2 since the damn national election, and all of the rest have gone to Democrats. So they're terrified.
Yeah.
And if you don't think he's terrified, the more he talks about, because we can have states' rights for women's rights, right? But by God, the 10th Amendment don't apply when Donald Trump wants to talk about elections. And by the way, he's violating the 10th Amendment in Minnesota because they do have the right to their own governance.
We'll see what the courts say. I gotta go. We'll see what the courts say. Thank you, Andy. And by the way, folks, tap the screen. Bill, the reason he wants to do that and the reason they've had the results that they've had is because the Democrats have manipulated the vote. To me, the stolen election, let me tell you why I say it don't make sense. We're going to suggest that under the Trump administration, because that's who was president in November of 2020 when the election was allegedly stolen. Under the Trump administration, the Democrats were able to steal the election from Trump, but then when they were able to get in power, all of a sudden they couldn't do the same theft they did from Trump while they were in power, and Trump somehow won again. That makes zero sense. If they're thieves and savvy enough to steal it from Trump while he's actually president, they're damn sure going to win when Biden's president. That makes no sense. All of a sudden now we can just vote too big to rig. The guy that stole the election, if we all vote, we can win this time. No sense whatsoever. Look, I believe that the claims that the 2020 election were stolen by the Democrats is something that's going to be right down there with the Kennedy assassination and assassination of Martin Luther King and all that. It's going to be a conspiracy that goes on and on and on in right-wing circles. You're never going to get evidence of that. You're never going. I mean, because at this point, Trump is essentially doing all the investigation. That stuff doesn't have credibility. Even if what Trump produces is true, even if he can produce factual stuff that show the Democrats are cheating or stealing, nobody's going to buy it because he's doing it himself. He can't exclude the fact that his whole first administration said he lost. The 60 judges that disagree with him, many Republican governors that disagree. So after all of that, you get in power, you put an FBI in there that everybody knows is full of loyalists, and somehow they came up with an investigation that favors you. That's not going to have any credibility. That is not going to have any credibility. So it will be even like I said, even if Trump ends up coming back and showing that the election was stolen, most of the country that are not MAGA is not going to believe the results. They're just not going to believe it. I mean, your time for proving this shit is past. And like I stated before, the fact that your whole first administration, from Pence to Barr to Scaramucci to Omarosa to Spicer, none of them say you won. Even though many of them would have got a second term in office themselves. All of them just decided to lie on you. And that's what MAGA believes, is that Trump is telling the truth, and all of his administration members, all of the Republican governors, just about all of the Republican senators, and even the folks that are in Congress, with the exception of maybe Matt Gaetz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, all of them are lying. It's just Trump and a couple people, everybody else is lying. Proof. Give me some evidence why all of them people would lie. Well, they're working with the deep state or some crazy stuff like that is what you hear. You got to prove that. You can't just say, well, Mike Pence lied for the sake of lying. Mike Pence would have won a second term. Why would he lie about you winning the election? When it would have helped him out too. Why would he lie about that? So I believe that the idea of proving the 2020 election is something that Republicans, I know that TikTok went out. I'll have to put an appeal in. We're talking about the 2020 election, and unfortunately, TikTok is now firmly in the hands of a Trump loyalist, and you can get censored. I got censored. I'll see if it comes back. By the way, understand we'll be doing lives on YouTube. If we ever lose TikTok, and I do have a backup page, but if we ever lose TikTok, which certainly could happen now, because we went from left-wing censorship to right-wing censorship. That's just like Twitter and X. They went from censoring the right. Elon Musk purchases it, turns it into X, and now it's a right-wing platform. They're not buying it to open it up and make it free-for-all. They're just buying it to do the same shit they were complaining about. So we do lives on X, Clapper. We have a Rumble account. All these are called a Handsome Liberal. I want to ask you folks also to follow me on Substack, because I want to be able to do lives there. I need about 5 or 6 more of you to follow me on Substack, because we can do lives there. So I'm trying to make sure we get platforms in place so that if TikTok is no longer available, because the censorship is unfortunately that great. So follow me on Substack. And I see Bobby Lynn says, you a pedo too, Toby. Kuta Kente. They own Google and Apple. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't use Google or Apple to do my program. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. There's no need to bring them up. We don't do lives on Google or Apple. I mean, goddammit, they may own Washington, D.C. I'm not doing lives on Washington, D.C. So you bringing up shit that is irrelevant. I'm talking about where they own stuff that is affecting our ability to communicate with each other. I'm not using Google or well, YouTube is Google owned. I get what you're saying. It hasn't got that bad on Google yet. How about that then? It has not gotten to that point on Google yet. If it does, we have to deal with it. But I do see what you guys are saying, that YouTube is owned by Google. If it gets that way, we'll see. But it is currently that way on TikTok now. Everybody heard it. If Trump can prove that they cheated, it doesn't matter to a leftist. These people are nuts. It didn't matter to you when they proved he didn't cheat. When 60 court judges ruled against Trump's claims, didn't matter to you. When Mike Pence said there's no stolen election, didn't matter to you. So now you want to point out it doesn't matter to the leftists, huh? All this evidence that's come forward saying that what Trump said is not true. None of that shit mattered to you. But now you expect the left to do the opposite of what you've been doing for the last 5 years. You running a comedy show? Is this a fucking improv? All this, I mean, Trump talking about nationalizing the election. That don't matter to you. He even said you can't bring a gun to a protest, which is a clear violation of your Second Amendment rights. Not matter to you at all. Okay. Anyway, look at it in the comments. Did you see they busted a biological? Yeah, I did. And I was in Las Vegas when that happened. We make a lot of enemies. We're now fucking with Venezuela. Under the Trump administration, the America First administration has used military action against Iran, Syria, Yemen, obviously the Hamas or whatever the case, Palestinians. Who else? Nigerians, talking about some Christians over there, threatening the hell out of Greenland. I mean, you know, for the most part, pissed off NATO, pissed off. We making a lot of enemies. Understand, folks, Trump is going to ride off into the sunset, a wealthy old man, and live a nice life. The stuff he does, nobody's going to fuck with Trump. No terrorist group is going to get access to you and me. You and me that may be out on the beach, shopping, at church, in the supermarket, and somebody comes and blows your fucking head off because they can't get to him. You and me are going to pay for that. You don't get to cash in on the $500 million cargo ship full of oil that we seized off the coast of Venezuela. You don't get none of that. You don't get none of the spoils for what's going on. The jet from Qatar, you don't get none of that shit. You or I, what we're going to receive, if we receive anything, is the retaliation for what we're doing overseas. That's what we get. When you go to the airport and you got to go through extra security and it takes you an extra hour you're paying for that. You're paying for what the elite are doing abroad. While they are getting rich for doing it, you're not getting any of the money. You're just receiving all of the negative shit, the output from it. When you travel overseas, certain cities you don't want to go to because people don't like Yankees and gringos, you're the one that's paying for all of that. They're doing fine. They're getting richer by doing that shit. So when you're celebrating what we did to Venezuela or blowing up Iran and you're celebrating it, you ain't getting shit out of that until Iran or one of these nations decide to strike back. And then you get all of that. Think about it. Hanson Lewis said, I followed you on Substack. I would love to see you on Clapper and Rumble. We might do Clapper tonight. Anyhow, folks, I'm on a lunch break live. I got to step away and get my ass back to work. Just like you folks, I work for a living.